Hello students, Dr. Wang is here recording. In this video clip, I'm going to teach you how to do the first financial project in the Microsoft Excel application. And if you open up this file, you will need to read the first page. That's the first spreadsheet, which contains the instructions of how to do this project. So you don't need to do a lot of things or improvise a lot of things on yourself. All you need to do is just to follow my instruction on this video clip. Okay, just to do it step by step as I tell you. So here are the 5 steps you need to do to complete this project. This project is about recreate an income statement and balance sheet. That's your first step A, and then you're gonna create a statement of cash flows, and then you're gonna do some editing work, and then also calculate the financial ratios, and then apply the DuPont method to analyze the ROE, which is return on equity, at the very last. Okay, so this is a large project. As you can see on your syllabus, this project is worth 15 points out of the 400 points. Okay, so this is a little bit heavier than other Excel projects in finance. So that's gonna cost you about 50% more time compared to other project. All right, so here is how we start. This is a financial statement. Okay, so you have an income statement right here, and it started from net sales. You deduct the operating cost, depreciation. You would get an earning before interest and taxes, less interest. Then you would get this earning before taxes. Then you deduct taxes based on 40% tax rate, and then you get a net income. And based on the 50% dividend payout ratio, you can calculate the total dividends. Okay, so this is our story. So what do you need to do? Well, if you read the paragraph here, you need to recreate the income statement and balance sheet using formulas wherever possible. All right, so right here, you want to make sure these are all formulas behind it. If you're not, then you will try to plug in formulas. Well, first and foremost, you should know which of these cells would need a formula. Okay, for example, the net sales. Well, do you need a formula? Can you create a formula behind net sales? Well, net sales is based on the price per unit, okay, times the number of unit. Okay, well, the thing is, we don't have that information in this limited page. So we just take the $9,000 as it's given. So it's okay for not putting a formula behind it. And likewise, for this net sales of the previous year, it's okay not putting its formula. And also for the operating cost, then we do not have much information about it. So we just skip inputting formula for it. And also for depreciation, we don't have a beginning value or ending value, a number of years to calculate annual depreciation. So we skip that. But I'm not gonna skip this earning before interest and taxes. I know this 850. This comes from my 9,000 net sales minus operating costs minus depreciation. All right, and then I hit enter. So this is what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to put a formula behind the Excel cell. Okay, behind that number. All right, and then for the next year, you can just do it like this: net sales minus operating cost minus depreciation, right? Or you can simply just drag this cell by one column to the right, right? You will see the formulas will be inserted behind the cell. Okay, the next job is to get the interest. Well, we don't have the information to calculate interest. It should be the interest rate times the number of the number for debt, but we don't have it, so just skip that. Earning before taxes, this is from the earning before interest and taxes minus interest. Okay, so one minus another, that's your earning before taxes, and I drag it all the way to the right. Okay, the good thing about this video is if you're not sure what to do, you can always get back and rewind. And then for taxes, well, you know your tax rate is 40%. I'm going to use to 40% times this earning before taxes. Okay, so that's the tax rate I pay. All right, so ignore the arrow. And then if I want to drag it to the right, this will not quite do, because if that's the case, you will see the tax rate is not actually locked in here. So basically, I need to lock my tax rate of 40%. So how do I lock it? I need to hit the hotkey F4. Okay, so by hitting the hotkey F4, I put a dollar sign in front of the B, which is your column letter, and a dollar sign in front of the 12, which is your row number. Okay, so why do I need to do that? If I drag it after I lock the cell by putting all the dollar sign, this is we'll see that I keep using this tax rate. Okay, this cell will not be shifted when I drag my cells to the left, right, or up or down. But the reference cell, okay, like the earning before taxes, aka taxable income, it will be dragged, it will be adjusted when I put my mouse for dragging. All right, so how do you get net income? This is your earning before taxes minus your taxes. Okay, so that's your net income. That's easy. And then drag it. And what about your total dividends? Well, this time I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this net income multiplied by my dividend payout ratio. Once again, I want to lock it. Okay, you can manually input the dollar sign here and the dollar sign there, and then after that you just drag it all the way to the right. Okay, you will see this dividend payout ratio is locked in there. So basically 50% dividend payout ratio, it means 50% of your net income will be paid out as a dividend, and then the rest 50% will be conserved by the company for retained cash, and it will eventually go to retained earnings. Okay, so once again, the hotkey for logging, okay, is F4. Okay, for logging. Okay, let me just put a note here. And also you can hit Control plus tilde, okay, this key, which is the key to the left of key number 1. So if you do that, Control tilde, then this would give you a formula view of what you just did. You see, these are the formulas you need to put behind the numbers. Okay, this based on the formulas, I will give you the grade. So just be careful you don't forget all these formulas. Okay, then if you hit Control plus tilde back, then you will get back to the number view. Right? So this is the income statement. Okay, so after the income statement, let's do the balance sheet. All right, so here is what you see for the balance sheet. So you have a total assets and total liabilities and equity. So just like what you did for your accounting class. And what you need here again is to plug in all the formulas. So right here, you have a cash, account inventories, and a total current assets. So total current assets should be the sum. Okay, I use a sum and include these 3 items. Right, so that is your total current assets, and then I'm going to drag it all the way to the right, and then basically it says no matter for what year, your total current assets include these 3 items. All right, and your plant equipment is something I cannot really calculate, so I just leave it there. And for accumulated depreciation, that's something I can do. Okay, this is something I can do. I'm going to use the accumulated depreciation last year. As you have learned, your new depreciation will have the depreciation expense plugged in this year. So I'm going to get back and hit this 300 new depreciation. So that's my new accumulated depreciation, right? So as you can see, this 570 equals this 270 plus the 300 right here. Okay, So that's your cumulative depreciation. And for net fixed assets, that's basically combines both positive and negative. So I'm going to use a plant minus accumulated depreciation. All right, hit enter. So that's 3,000 for 2018, and then drag it all the way to the next year. All right, and for my total assets, it will be equal to the total current assets plus the net fixed assets. All right, and then drag it all the way to the right. Okay, so that's for the assets part. And for the capital financing part, so right here you have accounts payable, accruals, notes payable. So here you got the summarized term called total current liabilities. So it will be the sum of the three, okay, included in here. And then you drag it all the way to the right, all right? And then you have this long-term bonds. Well, there's nothing we can do for this number because we don't have enough information to calculate that. So for total debt, it will be your long-term debt, okay, plus the short-term debt, which is your total current liabilities. All right, and then you drag it all the way to the right. And for common stock, well, there's nothing we could compute, so we just use the number which is given to us. And for retained earnings, it's actually the return earnings of last year, all right? So it is the return earning of last year, 2250, okay, plus the net income of this year minus the dividends of this year, right? So that's your retained earnings. So it actually consists of three components. One is return earnings last year, which is in a C22, plus the net income minus the dividend of this year. So here it comes to a very important concept. Retained earning of 2018 equals to retained earning of 2017, the last year, plus net income of 2018 minus dividend of 2018. All right, you need to memorize that. Okay, although this is a online class and you do not have to come to class to do the test, but for my classes, I always require my students to remember this. All right. Next, your total common equity. So this is common stock plus retained earnings. Okay. And for total liabilities and equity, that's your total common plus total debt. Right? And then drag it all the way. So now basically you've finished constructing the balance sheet and plug in all the formulas. Once again, here is a control plus tilde, so that word is called tilde. And then you can just take a look at the formula view and make sure all the formulas are plugged in the right place. And we will move on to the statement of cash flows.